Okay, I think if you have some questions, you can line up at these microphones on either side, and we can have this group answer some questions for you.
As you can tell, I am very, very passionate about this series. I'm
Same.
I'm also very passionate about fantasy in general. I was wondering, growing up, what fantasy, I see a lot of influences in The Dragon Prince, like Lord of the Rings, Avatar, Wink. What other series was like a subtle influence that you would also recommend us to go check out?
Aaron, do you have anything first? I have like a million things I could say because all I do is talk about things that I like. So,
I mean, the ones I always throw out are I was influenced by Robotech growing up, and probably reading ElfQuest as well.
mine are video games also. So I guess the two that always come to mind are the video game Final Fantasy VII and book series Garth Nix's Sabriel, the Abortion trilogy was hugely influential to me, and the Seventh Tower series, and Rurouni Kenshin in anime.
I think for me, a big one, sort of like, especially humor-wise, was Terry Pratchett's Discworld series. Maggie, rest in peace, hugely influential to me, and also a very kind of like a lot of big progressive messages that were powerful to me at age 10 through 18, whenever I was reading literally every book he ever wrote.
I don't know if you're going to like this answer, but I have a background in Shakespeare, so whenever I write, especially for The Dragon Prince, I think about Shakespeare. So specifically, any of the Henry plays, Henry IV, Henry V, that's the stuff I think about when I think about all the crazy war stuff that's happening.
I'm surprised you didn't say Midsummer's Night Dream.
That's the one with elves, right?
I like Midsummer Night's Dream because of Puck.
Yeah. Actually, it's fairies now they think about it, but
Fairies, elves, all the same.
Thank you for answering my question. Keep being awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We go to the left.
Oh, yeah,
Go back
I
and
think
forth?
we'll go back and forth, so we'll go to this side for this next one.
How did Dragon Prince came to be? What inspired it? What inspired it?
What inspired it? I mean, I think a lot of things influenced it in terms of, I'm not sure, you mean inspired, not how did it come to be, like how did we produce it, but like, we wanted to tell a great fantasy story that was modern and global in a lot of senses. So we wanted it to be different than a lot of fantasy stories that we've seen and we're familiar with, but also still have a lot of the magic and dragons and stuff like that. We wanted it to be a story that was empowering for younger generations and for people who want to change things and change patterns in the world that are, that are worth changing. And so that's the kind of story we wanted to tell. So that's how it was sort of initially inspired. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
First off, I just want to say thank you so much for creating these characters. It's very rare to see people who look like me in the fantasy element, especially as elves. I don't know if anyone's ever played Mabinogi, but the elf class only has 3 skin colors, and none of them are even my tint. So thank you so much for that. My actual question, though, is about Erebos, and I've noticed we haven't seen any elves who look like him, like the celestial, spatial type elf. Is he the last of his kind, and is that part of why he's kind of got this beef with the elves, or? Sorry. True.
I think
okay,
you can
fair
go.
point.
I think you can go. Mysterious version of answer. I don't know. You can
You can't tell me
wade
to
into
be
this.
mysterious and then just like oh my god, what that means. He's not the last of his kind. I guess I'll say that. There are other Star Touch elves, but they are exceedingly, exceedingly rare, and you do not come across them in the sort of like corporeal realm of Zadia very often. Is that mysterious? Is that allowed?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
I think I'll go one step further and say Arrows took more of an interest in more mortal lives than other Star Touch elves ever did, for better and for worse.
Uh-oh.
I've said stuff like that before.
All right, we'll go to this side for the next question. Hello.
Hi. In season 1, where did Tristan get the sunforged blade that he had that Raylo then took from him?
Are you asking where the mercenary got the sunforged blade that he had?
Yes.
He did crimes to receive it. Actually, the headcanon I've used to explain that is that he was, a part of one of Viren's expeditions. I don't know if Aaron's going to get mad at me for sharing a headcanon, but Viren had, some expeditions into Zadia using the secret passage in the border for some time before the series started. And my thought was he's kind of a mercenary ex-soldier who decided that he was too cool for school and, broke out on his own, managed to find this rare relic and thought, instead of using this for good, I will use this to gamble and beat people at swords. And that's his life story.
All right. Thank you.
We'll take another question over here.
Yeah, let's just say I love your work on both The Dragon Prince and Avatar: The Last Airbender. By any chance, are you now or ever were thinking about the idea of a crossover?
I mean, they're on the opposite sides of if you flip the map. That's where Zadia and
It doesn't have
So-
to be canon.
Unfortunately, I think that's probably that's unlikely. But it's a fun idea, and I think if people are inspired by those ideas and want to do art and fan fiction with crossover ideas, I think that's absolutely awesome.
Well, it sounded like a good idea, like that old Fire Emblem game.
I've definitely seen that kind of fan art, and it's adorable, and everyone should make fan works of the things that inspire them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go to this side.
What is your favorite kind of like creature you created in the Dragon Prince?
I wonder if that's a broader question that anyone can answer, if they have a favorite creature that's in the Dragon Prince.
There are a lot of cute and cool ones.
Yeah.
Does anyone have a favorite creature?
I do.
I like Zim. Is that allowed? Is he a creature? Is that diminishing him? Am I in trouble?
The Adoraburs. Like, don't you want 1,000
they
of them just on your porch? What about you? What's your favorite creature?
It's a tough
Now
question.
I see how hard this question is.
Yeah, see?
Do you see what you've done? What have you wrought?
I'm going to say Ambler. I would love a gigantic thing to take me
Yeah.
across the desert. I often have to go across deserts, I guess.
I like the animal that the illusionists use to fly around, and then they fly around with it.
That's
Moon
the
Phoenix.
Fifi the Moon Phoenix.
Yes, Fifi.
Yeah. Oh, Fifi.
That's a really good choice.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question about Jack DeSena. I mean, I really wish he was here
No,
because
I'm just kidding.
I mean, I loved him as Sokka in Avatar, and he was great as Callum in The Dragon Prince. I got a question. How did he get that role?
Of Callum or of Sokka?
Callum. How did he ever get the role?
He begged. He pleaded, please.
Live tweet that. No, he's not on Twitter.
No, I love Jack, and when we were working on the show, and I was also seeing him at conventions and things like that, and we talked a lot, and he was definitely like a voice in my head when we were thinking about this character, and I think in all of our heads. So he was integrated very early on into who the character would be. So
Even so, I think like Callum, the character, became like at least 30 to 40% more of a dork as soon as we started recording Jack as his voice. And so
Yeah,
then we
like
just
Sokka.
continued to write him like that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Go over here.
Hi. So there are lots of great pop culture references in the show. My favorite being "Anyway, here's the Wonderwall." Can you give us a hint or tell us some of the pop culture references we can expect in future seasons?
How far can we go?
All right, we're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to give one. We're going to give one. You want to do it?
I don't know which one you're going to give.
Oh, then I'll give it. Twin Peaks?
Excellent.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
I'll go to the side.
This might be a little mean. I got a little jab for the writers.
Oh.
So what I like about the show is the relationship between all the characters. It's well paced and everything. Then there's General Maya. It seemed it was going between General Maya and Gren, and then all of a sudden she's a prisoner of a sun elf. And then they're holding hands. That is really rushed. What were you thinking? Yeah, but they rushed it though. They rushed it. Not in this show. How long did Callum take with Raya?
So you're giving us feedback that you felt that it was rushed to see them holding hands in the end.
Yeah, because she was a
Okay.
prisoner of the Sun Elf. I don't care that they're together. I think it's cute, but it felt way too rushed. I was wondering, was that just tossed in there quickly, or
Well, first of all,
will you develop on it?
we can totally hear your feedback. I would say my point of view would be everyone went through something pretty intense together, and I think that changes people's emotional timelines sometimes.
I also think that the state that they're at towards the end of season 3 is not necessarily like they're not dating yet. It's they're experiencing a pretty intense friendship, and there might be some feelings behind there, but more or less they've come from a place where they have realized that they should have never been enemies, and that realization, I think, like comes with a lot of weight in terms of just like how fiercely you seize this new friendship, this friendship that you never thought was something that you could reach for, you know? So there's an intensity there of the feelings beneath the romance as well. It's however blossoming it might be. Does that help a little?
Okay.
Thank you. Go over here.
So my question's for Aaron, for you specifically.
Okay.
So I've actually never heard you in person before, honestly. So the reason I mention that is I feel like you have a great voice for characters. Have you ever voiced any of your own characters in any of your own stuff before?
Maybe you'll recognize this. Ba-bum. That's it. That's the only one.
Okay.
But
I feel
thank
like you should. You
appreciate
should give it a shot, though.
Very kind words. Thank you.
But you do sometimes voice the characters when we're recording.
Oh, just like as a temp, like
yeah,
to keep the rhythm.
Yeah, which is, he gets into it.
It's
You're
fun.
a good reader.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
I was just wondering, how exactly do you become a show creator, and how are you able to pitch shows and everything? Like, do you have to be an animator first, or can you come from any direction of the creative process when it comes to cartoon making?
Does someone else want to talk about this? Eugene, would you want to take this? Or?
I don't think specifically for animation you have to start as an animator. You could start as a writer. So I started as a writer. I don't have a background in animation. My background, as I mentioned, is Shakespeare, and also I went to film school, so I've been writing for years and years and years. And somehow Aaron recognized, I guess, some talent in my writing, so I'm very grateful for that. So if you are an aspiring writer, I would just recommend writing every day, doing a lot of research. By research, just watching a lot of TV and movies, and if you're starting, what people like to do is sort of copy what their favorite writers are writing, and then through that you'll learn what your voice is.
Mm-hmm.
And then just keep writing, and hopefully one day someone will recognize your talent and pay you to write.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello. Yeah.
Hi.
And I guess my question will also be asking about your writing process, because when you start to think of ideas for how the story plays out, do you think of I'm curious just to know how you go through. Do you think of the story elements that will play in, and then you have the characters move towards that, or do you think about not just terms of have the characters and think about their own motivations that tie into it, and then you kind of let them lead themselves to the story?
You started answering the question, I think, for sure. And like our process is a big part of things. Like we definitely don't think of ourselves, I think, as just like, hey, here it is. We're so good at this. Process is so important. Devin, would you want to take on the rest of that?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit story soup, as Aaron sometimes calls it. And a lot of that is, starting with a very big picture idea of what like major plot beats we sort of want to aim for. But in terms of how you apply connective tissue to get from sort of like your A to C to D even, typically we talk a lot about how the characters lead us there. And oftentimes what that means is that we end up somewhere we didn't really plan for. But I think that establishing these sort of like big picture goalposts helps us sort of like figure out exactly what the real path through all of that is. Does that sort of help or make sense?
So if I were to use like an elaboration, it would be kind of like if you were to play an RPG, say like Persona or something, and then you have the overall timeline, but then you have all the day-by-day events that happen that you don't necessarily expect.
Yeah. Oh, so in terms of, to use the Persona 5 metaphor, I think like when we do an episodic breakdown, it's very, very different than the big season breakdown. So when we'll have a board up and it'll be like episodes 1 through 9, and we'll know sort of like the big picture of what happens in each of those quote days or episodes. And then we'll do what's called a pitch out, which is when we take that specific episode, say it's like season 4, episode 1, and we will spend like 2 to 3 days diving very, very deep in the scene to scene, day to day, if you will, in the Persona metaphor, specifics of what that episode looks like. So it gets very, very granular by the end of the writing process, because you're literally breaking it down to like the individual pieces of dialogue and the back and forth between the characters. And that's when you know that you're like, okay, this is almost done. We're gonna be in script soon. It's gonna be a real thing. So big to little.
Yeah, I think another critical part of our process is that we know there's a handoff. So we're going to have these scripts, and we know that we are going to need to give them to the voice actors to bring to life, that artists and directors are going to need to draw these scenes and create film out of it. I'm wondering if any of the actors have a sense of like, how do you treat the scripts when they come, and like how do you integrate your vision into the process? I don't know if Rena has a thought on, or any of you.
I think for me, what really helps is not reading the other parts, actually. So I just go through and I read only what's in my world or in my storyline, because that gives me a better sense of the dynamics between characters. Also, my Janai's like inner life, because I feel like she's like kind of coming or like opening to everyone, right? At first, she starts out kind of grunting, and then speaks very little, which is similar to me on the stage right now, kind of staying in character. So yeah, I like to stay in the world also to, I don't know, there's things about colors that come to me through the scripts too. I don't know if you guys have that intent when you're writing the things, but I start seeing colors from it, which is interesting. So I'm able to kind of see the world in different colors as I read through things and kind of get the temperature in that way. So I don't know, it feels like a sensorial, like full-bodied type of experience. So then when I go in the room, I have all of those things with me, and then those can come out. But yeah, I just love the writing so much because it gives so much as well. So
We absolutely, when we're working on the story, like sort of stumble through a sense of color and shape of the story. And so that's a little bit like an intangible, like just helping us feel our way through emotionally and understand kind of what it feels like without overthinking the words. So that's really interesting that you think that way too.
yeah, it comes through.
I'm pretty methodical with the way I work through the scripts, so I definitely, like I have to sit outside and read them all the way through the first time, and then I have to take all my scenes out. and I lay them out on the floor so I can see them. And then I have to look at the last scene that came before, so in the previous episode, to find out where we left the character. And then I work through to figure out what does she want and when is she getting it and when is she not getting it throughout the scenes. So like there's a lot of lines on my script about like getting what I want, not getting what I want, getting what I want, not getting what I want. So that's how I work through it.
How often do we give Rayla what she wants? I feel like that's actually kind of rare.
I mean, like, she doesn't get what she wants that much, but she also often gets what she wants. Like, she, you know, like, sometimes she's just like, I want Callum to do what I'm telling him to do. Like, it doesn't need to always be, like, big things, right? Sometimes they're like, I want to sit down. Are we sitting down? Yeah, we're sitting down now. Like, they can be really, really small, but just, like, to work from a place of intention so that then it's really easy for me to know where that intention feels like it is in my body.
I'll also say that this group is fantastic at empowering actors as well. Because a lot of time you work on shows and you come in because you've got a silly voice or whatever, or any numerous reasons that people are cast as a voice actor in particular projects. But right from the get-go, these guys were like, we want you to be part of this project. We want to empower you to tell us, your vision of these characters, your views of where these stories are going, and that's a very rare thing. So I think we'd all agree that we feel very valued and part of a process that oftentimes as a voice actor you don't necessarily get to do that. And it's about voice acting is it's acting, and you follow the same, or at least I follow the same process as I do if I'm doing on screen or theatre or whatever. You figure out who you're talking to, you figure out where you've been, you figure out where you're going, and then that informs the voice from there, rather than, hey man, I can do crazy voices, or, I'm gonna be this guy for this one. That's great, and hopefully that's part of our arsenal. But it's about, figuring out who you're in relationship with in a scene, and playing that, and playing. And these are a fabulous group of people to be allowed to play with. I would say.
And by the my only tag on would be like, to me that's the secret of the Dragon Prince as a show, is we really are trying to invite everyone into the vision creation, so that together, like the perspectives and voices and imagination that comes out of the Dragon Prince is from this really passionate group, this collected, bunch of ideas and perspectives. So the people that we love having in our big process are people who are part of growing that vision. So anyway, that's the secret. Okay, I wonder if we can do.
Critically long answer for this.
Yeah.
Good question.
I wonder. I know we have 5 minutes, and it looks like 7 questions. I wonder if there's a rapid fire-ish version. We'll see. Let's try it.
Data.
Okay, I'll be quick. When the Dragon Prince was first announced, there was a mention of a tie-in video game. However, there's been no news about that for years. Is that still happening? Also super quick, any kind of merchandise that you were asked to do that you said no?
The video game is absolutely still happening. It's very early in production, so we can't really say anything, but we do have a team of designers and artists and engineers who are working real hard to make it happen, but cannot share any more details at this time, but it's still happening.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
So for this question, I know I can understand if you guys can't completely answer it because of spoilers, but is there going to be more exploration into human magic with primal sources in the next season, and what that was like, if there was any in the past before Callum?
I think at some point, yes. Okay. Yes, that is an important part of the history of what's happened and what is happening. So yes. Let's go.
2 questions. Will we see more of sky elves like Nyx? And the other question is, will we learn anything more about Callum's cube?
Yes and yes.
Cool.
So being mostly writers and voice actors, I'm not sure who's qualified, but where's the merch? See, exactly, that's what I'm talking about. That shirt there, where is that?
we're working on it. We have some cool partners. There's Battle Charge, the tabletop game just came out, and Tales of Zadia. And there are other things happening that if you look on our social media, you'll find out more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As the voice actors, have you ever been surprised by your story arc or the choices your characters make?
Every script.
Well, yeah, I'm just excited. I'm really excited for what's coming. That's all I can say. And I like thoroughly. I mean, every second I can't even. Yeah, maybe next year I'll be able to say more.
Okay. I'm going to keep this vague for spoiler reasons, but will we see more Pip the Bird?
I can't answer anything about that.
Okay, and give Beta love interest.
I've wanted to do that from the beginning.
What are each of your favorite characters in the show?
Viren, every time. I love sad old man who does crimes.
Tie between Rayla, Janai, and Renan.
Also Viren.
Yeah, I love Viren too, sorry.
I love Janai. I really do. I know.
I really like Ellis and Ava.
Aww.
I'm gonna say Claudia. I'm currently on Claudia.
Wow, good taste, guys.
Thank you. That's it. We did it. Thank you so much.